I'm Liz Finlay, and welcome to this podcast series on inspiring spiritual entrepreneurs. We'll be chatting with some of the wonderful business owners who come to Starseed Business Networking. This is a free monthly meeting I co-host on Zoom with Steve Nobel, and you can find details of the next meeting on the events page of my website, lizfinlay.com. Today, we had the pleasure of chatting with Huw Mathias from Light Work Create. Huw's purpose is to provide light-encoded graphics and websites to starseeds and lightworkers. This empowers them in communicating visually with their tribes as part of our shared mission for planetary transformation. So Huw, thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Liz. Great to be here.
So you started off at quite a young age holding a pen and getting quite creative.
I did, yes. My mother always says to me, I remember you about 2 years old first picking up a pencil and starting to draw. And, it was obvious from quite a young age that I had an artistic inclination. And that, I developed throughout my life, and I was painting and drawing my way through childhood and adolescence. So, yes, it's always been something, in my core.
And so you went on to study film.
I did, because I was captivated by movies growing up, and even though I love drawing and painting, and all my art teachers in college were trying to persuade me to go and do my art foundation and go off to art school or graphic design school, I just had this bee in my bonnet about film and movies, because I was being a very visual person, being an artistically inclined person. I'm very visual, and I loved films and visual storytelling as well. So I was captivated by films, and I had this idea that I wanted to go off and be a filmmaker at some point. So the degree that I chose was actually a film and American studies degree, and it took me to America in the third year of the degree.
Nice.
And for me, it was an amazing experience. For me, that was getting close to the place where movies were made, America and Hollywood, from my imagination as a child. So I was very much drawn to do that and go and travel and be in that environment, and experience, some of the behind the scenes aspects of filmmaking and movie making. And it was an incredible experience. I was 21, 22 years old, and there I was doing 2 internships in Hollywood. And the professors in my American university arranged for me. So that was incredible. Then I went back to the UK to do my final year of study, which involved some practical filmmaking as well. But after my degree, it really wasn't a vocational degree. And I found myself living and working in London, not knowing quite what to do with my time after university, because I discovered that getting into the film industry in the UK is very expensive. You have to be very well connected and willing to work for free for quite a long time.
Oh, wow.
As a production assistant or a runner. That's normally how a lot of people do it. So I realized I couldn't really do that, so I had to find a job. So the next decade, really, I spent in London, working in jobs that weren't very fulfilling for me, wondering what to do. And I realized after a certain while, I was in my 20s, so I was a bit hedonistic as well. But after a while, I realized that what I should really be doing is art design. So through some friends and contacts that I had in London, I managed to secure an opportunity working as desktop publishing specialist in the corporate world. And I saw that as my way in, as my segue into, you know, the world of graphics and presentations and digital design. So that's what I did. And I was working in that industry for a number of years, and then sidestepped into being a junior graphic designer. And this was working in the financial corporate arena in London.
Fun.
Yeah. So yes, it was very 9 to 5 and very corporate, but at the same time, it enabled me to build the skill sets I needed, the discipline I needed, you know, to cut my design teeth, so to speak, and learn all the software, and learn from amazing colleagues who'd been in the industry for many, many years. So that was really my training, perhaps the training that I didn't get through university, through like a full-on university degree. But what I did do between you know, just prior to going into the corporate world, I did undertake some evening classes in graphic design, and I actually went to do my foundation diploma in Camberwell College of Arts. I took a year out from working, and which I was able to do because I had a property in Wales at the time that I took out a small remortgage on. So I gave myself the funds to go and study for a year. And that was what set me back on the path towards art and design and graphics. And then I did another course in night school as well, alongside that. And then, yeah, the opportunity came up to, you know, to go full time in the corporate world with presentation design, mostly based in PowerPoint. And then, like I said, sidestepped into a junior graphic design role. And after a number of years of doing that, I decided that I wanted to, you know, get out of the corporate world, because by that point I really wasn't enjoying it. I realized it wasn't suited to me.
But I think you had one fantastic opportunity, possibly while you were still in the corporate world.
Yes,
with
I
Hay
did.
House.
Well, absolutely, yes. Well, it wasn't actually directly through Hay House. The conduit for me beginning to do graphics in the lightworking arena was through my dear friend Katie Brockhurst, who's also known as the social media angel. So she was working as the social media consultant. Well, she actually still is, I think. She still works with people like Diana Cooper and Rebecca Campbell. But she's been working with Diana for many years. And at that point in 2014, she approached me about creating some graphics for Diana, because she knew I wanted to get out of the corporate world and set up my own graphic design business. So she was very on the ball and intuitive about opportunities, creating opportunities, which was wonderful. Very lucky to have a friend like that. And I created some initial graphics for Diana. And at the time, Katie was managing her Facebook page, and I think the engagement was somewhere around 40,000 on the page. And then I started creating some graphics, and we were testing them out on the audience. And within a few months, the engagement level was just skyrocketing. And what we both realized was that bringing that visual element in to Diana's platform, to her social platforms, was having a dynamic impact, a really powerful impact on the audience. So what I would do is Diana would create a list of quotes, I would create the graphics for them. And we were getting all sorts of amazing comments. People were saying they were meditating with them, that they were getting uplifted by looking at them. And
that's incredible.
It was incredible. It was a real, you know, it was profoundly wonderful for me to see that. So then I realized, you know, with graphics and art and design, you can uplift people's consciousness. You can raise their consciousness, their vibration. So it was at that point that the whole idea for Lightwork Create was born. And again, Katie had input into that, because at first I wanted to call it Lightwork Creative, and she said, why don't you shorten it, just have it Lightwork Create? And I thought, yeah, perfect, brilliant. So that's where it was born. And since that time, I continued working with Katie. I worked on other campaigns for people like Sergio Magana, who's a Mexican Toltec sort of shamanic guide. He lives in Mexico City. And that's something that, working in this arena is something that's continued for all those years. So, continuing working with Katie and then getting referrals through her, which was also fantastic. And as my kind of presence in the space grew, and I was building my own platforms, and people were starting to find me online as well. So that's really the path that I took, and that's how Lightwork Create was born.
What a beautiful story.
Yeah, it's
journey. It's been a journey.
It has been, and a very blessed one.
So can you share with us one thing that has really worked for your business that can help inspire the listeners?
Sure. Well, I'm a great believer in meditation, and over the years I've studied manifesting and visualization a great deal, and I found the works of people like Dr. Joe Dispenza. And I love his meditations. And what I found is when I was doing some of those meditations, particularly his ones that concern manifesting and visualizing and going into the quantum field, I've used that a lot in building my vision for the business and creatively in life, what I want to be doing, where I want to be going, what I want to be creating. So that's something that's really helped me. And when I find that I really apply myself and do those meditations consistently, stuff happens. Really powerful stuff happens. So it's about, for me, playing with the creative energies of the universe through consciousness, through meditation and visualization. And then in a way, that's helped me bring through some of those light codes so that I can channel it into my work.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Oh, you're
I
welcome.
think manifestation is so important, especially within business. In my last webinar, my computer froze. And so I think it was saying it's time for a new computer.
Yeah.
And I managed to manifest one. It's a long story. Amazing. Can't go into it now, but
yeah, that's amazing.
It was manifested rather than going around to a shop and buying it. So thank you so much for sharing that with us.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
So if you'd like to connect with Huw, head over to his website, and that is lightworkcreate.love. Thanks so much for joining us, Huw.
Oh, it's been my pleasure, Liz. Great to join your podcast today. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.